am patiently waiting for Student Oscar Award winner for Best Student Film, Talia Smith.
Hello.
Hello.
How are
you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Don't you know that you're a fact? 'Cause I'm a fact, and we're a fact, and that's a fact.
Hi there, femme arts lovers. Welcome to That's a Fact. I am overly excited because beside me and talking to me today is the Student Academy Award / Student Oscar winner of the Best Student Film beside me. And her name is Talia Smith. Talia, please give us a hi to all our femme arts lovers.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited.
How are you, Talia? How are you feeling? How are you? I don't know. How are you overall?
I'm doing really well. It's been a few weeks of good news in a otherwise dreary year, but so yeah, I would say it's been a good few weeks.
And only imagine, it's such an honor to have you on our platform talking about this amazing film that you have made that we are yet to see in theaters. We are wanting to know about who you are and what you do and where you come from. So we're going to flip the script a little bit with that procedure and rather just go straight into the questions that we will ask you, and we will get into the questions and you get to answer them uninterrupted as per That's a Fact tradition. Let's jump into the very, very first question. Who is Talia Smith?
Well, Talia Smith is a storyteller, and I use filmmaking as a vessel for storytelling.
That's a beautiful answer. The title of your award-winning film, Umama. What does Umama mean?
Umama means mother in Zulu. And so the film is about that. It's about a mother. To give you a bit of a little synopsis of the film, the story is about a domestic worker, Sibongile, and the day that she wakes up to find her son is missing. The story is centered around that day, and it's inspired by my relationship with my domestic worker growing up, Susan. And I used to, growing up, call her my second mother. So that's the fruition and the seed of the film.
I think that is the narrative that happens with quite a few South Africans or South African children growing up. And we'll jump into more of that later. What I want to ask you now is describe to us who is involved in the film, who is the cast, and what is your role specifically in the making of this film?
So I'm the writer-director of the film, and involved in our cast, I'll name, how about I tell you a little story about how we got our cast, and that will describe everyone involved. So
I'm so game.
Great, because it's a good story, and I've said this before a few times, but there's a part of me that feels like there are film gods, and those film gods gave me my cast because each of them was so perfect for their role that it fits so well. And making the film was not easy by any means, and so finding cast was one of the obstacles that we had. And it was December 2018. I came home to South Africa and I was holding auditions, and I didn't even know where to start. I didn't know how to find anyone. We didn't have any money for the film. We were still raising money. And, you know, in America, it's very easy to get actors because everybody wants to get stuff on their reel. Versus in South Africa, I feel like, okay, you're in university, university comes first, and then you're a professional, and by then you're already making money. So it's hard to find those people in between who are just looking to maybe take part in something, hone in on their craft. And I was having a very difficult time. We sent emails to all of the drama schools, all of the universities, like an open casting call. But I mean, I feel like it's hard to get people engaged in something that says like student film on it. And then thankfully it was like through conversations, I knew a girl who went to my high school, and she was at Wits doing drama there, and she sent me the name of 2 boys who they came into the audition and blew me away. So okay, well, both of them came into the audition, they both got roles, and the one was our lead, and it was a week before we were about to shoot, and he got a job on he got a job on a soap opera. So I said to him,
Wow.
don't worry about it, like, you go do that. That is great news. I'm so happy for you. Meanwhile, on the inside, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he was playing the lead. He was playing the son, Tabiso. I had no idea what I was going to do. And so I called my friend again and I said, okay, do you have like one more person maybe that you can recommend for me? And then in May, this was like a week before we were shooting, we flew back home as we were supposed to. And we went from the airport to the audition room where we met Mali Bongwe. And Mali Bongwe was so good. And me and my mom turned to each other and we just said, are we jet lagged or is he just incredible? Like what is going on? He was so good. And I said to him in the audition, I said, okay, are you free these days? It's like next week. We'll make anything work. Just let us know. And obviously he was free and he was incredible. And then when it came to his mother, Sibongile, it's played by Connie Chume, who you may know from Rhythm City and Black Panther. And how that happened was so crazy because I was at a Halloween party in New York, and somebody was speaking to me and he said, oh, you're South African, you probably know this guy. And it's like, I don't know every person in South Africa, like just because I'm South African. And it was a cinematographer. So I followed the cinematographer on Instagram. And that next day he posted a picture of Connie. And I looked at the picture and I thought, oh my gosh, she's perfect for the role. And I clicked on the tag, went onto her Instagram, and she had just downloaded Instagram that day. And by mistake put her number in her bio. So I said to my mom, please call her, because I couldn't call because I was in New York. So I said, Mom, you have to call her and ask her if she'll be interested in speaking with me. And so her number isn't in her bio anymore, but she called me, we spoke. And I think for her, the reason why she told me that she did it is that one of the things we connected on was that I'm very passionate about South African talent and using the platform that I have to help other South Africans. And she also wants to help the younger generation because she actually used to be a teacher and she learned how to act on set. And she wants to help the younger generation just in the same way that she had mentors on set. So that's how we got our 2 leads. And then the others were Shelley was the mother playing Bridget, and we got her. There's a Facebook group called Joburg Jewish Mummies, and I posted on there. I said, does anybody know anyone? And Shelley's an incredible actress. She came on and she came into the audition and she was perfect. And I remember I think she was the first person that we cast because she gave me like the same energy as my mom, just this calmness about her and her elegance, which she is in real life. And then the little girl who was playing Cassandra, she actually came in with her mom for an audition, and I said, does she act? And her mother said she doesn't, but she's quite a drama queen, like she can try. And she did, and she was also just so good. And we cast her. It's her first time acting. So Leah was incredible. And then we had one of my friends' mothers is a talent manager. They work at Icon International, and she gave us Prince and Wendy, who play the next door neighbors. This was Prince's first time acting, and he was also just like, I can't even, I wish I could put to words how incredible it was working with these actors. And then of course Cathalo and Ketumet, who played the bullies, each and every one of them, just there's genuinely no words to describe how incredible it was. We sat at our as we were preparing to go into production, we only had one day to do table reads. So I'd worked with some of the actors individually, but when we did the table read as a group, it was the most amazing chemistry I'd ever experienced. Like I just sat back and was like, there are film gods, because I don't know how these people got into my life. They were just incredible. I'm very blessed for all of my cast.
That's amazing. And I love this concept of film gods, because
I swear.
I don't know about you, but I believe that the universe conspires to bring
Totally.
everything together for your good if you just ask for it. And it seems like you were
100%.
100% asking for it, and you got it. And it's turned
Let
into
me
something.
tell you. No, I'm telling you, that was my mindset throughout. There were so many obstacles, and I just kept thinking like, okay, anything bad that's happening, it isn't bad. It's for what's meant to be with this film, and everything's going to be okay. So in the end, it was.
Your family background and how because they seep into the story, right? So tell us about your family background and how that feeds into the film.
So I'm Jewish, and that features obviously very heavily in the film. And I think something that has always been so interesting to me about South Africa is the interchange between different cultures and how we kind of pick up on different things from each other. And something that I wanted to explore in my film was the idea of, so Susan, growing up, she knew my house is kosher, which is like Jewish laws of how to keep your home in terms of food. And there's very strict laws, and she knows all of them, which is just something that's so interesting to me, that I will take a knife and she'll say, no, that's not the right knife to use. You're not allowed to use that one. You have to use this one. So that features in the film a bit, and also because the backdrop of the film is Passover, which is just another layer that I wanted to add in terms of symbolism, and also the idea that she's part of it, but also not part of it, in that she'll help set up for Passover, but it's not something that she actively takes part in, but she knows so much about. Yeah. And then there's also the little girl. In the end, she takes part in a play, and the play is Mama Temba. You know the song, like Mama Temba's getting married. Yeah. So that great song that I just sang so beautifully. That was real. In school we perform. Thank you. In school we performed that, and that was a way for us to learn about weddings of like different cultures in South Africa and how they hold their weddings versus like a Jewish wedding. So all of that features in the film, and I think growing up I had this relationship with Susan which was so precious to me. And when I went to America, I had people for the first time asking me, who is this person? What is your relationship with her? Because in South Africa, people don't really question question those relationships because they're so common, versus going to America where it's not common, and for the first time you're kind of taking a step back and going, oh, what is this relationship? Why is there this relationship? And also, what does it entail? And so for me, writing the film was kind of a way of dissecting that and trying to understand for myself the intricacies of these relationships and the lives involved.
That's a very important narrative to highlight, because it can become an incredibly complex thing, not only to understand from an external view in America, but also from an internal view in South Africa, given our history.
Totally.
And I also actually want to jump onto the question on that note of, clearly there is a meshing or a convergence of cultures in film. And on that note, I'd like to ask, in terms of the political America, and of course by that we mean the history of apartheid, what are the key elements that this film aims to highlight in terms of that? And how does it relate to your own experiences of political unease?
So I think for me, what was most important about this film is that it's not, the film is about this woman and the sacrifices that she makes as a mother and all of the obstacles that she faces as a mother. And I think already in myself, I felt like, wow, being a mother is such an incredibly selfless thing to do. But then to act as a mother for somebody else's child is just like beyond that. And also, what are the obstacles that she faces because of the legacy of apartheid? And I think, to me, something that I am always trying to understand or get to know better is how the legacy of apartheid is affecting us today. And something that I think that is important to realize is that there is a generation of people who didn't get a proper education, who didn't get the education that we have today because of the Bantu Education Act. And so growing up, Susan would tell me that she learned how to clean a coal oven. That was one of the things that she learned. And so when apartheid ends, she wants to give her children a better life than she had, but she can only use the skills that she was given. So that was something that I explored within the film. I mean, I wouldn't say it's explored, it's stated in the film, or it's the backdrop in the film. The film is more about the mother and the relationships, and within the backdrop of these different issues that occur, and also crime being an issue in South Africa. I mean, I don't think I know a South African who hasn't experienced some sort of crime or knows somebody who's experienced crime. And that was something that was so wild to me, that in doing this research for the film, people that I spoke to, so what is the word? When I would do the research, I would speak to people and tell them the story, and they could relate to it so easily. It was like, oh yeah, that's happened to me, or that happened to somebody that I know, in some way, which was sad to me a bit, and just shows that we still have a long way to go.
I may not be the best expert on history, but I can confidently assume that this kind of narrative has not really entered the nominations on the Oscars. Is that something that you can agree with?
Well, I guess there was Roma, which is a very similar story. It's set in Mexico.
But
I
it was
think
not it's not based in South Africa. That's the thing.
So for me, I mean, I don't think I know. I have to do my research, and I've been asked this before, so I should know by now. But I did ask the Student Academy Awards if there'd ever been a South African film, and no one could tell me. So I'm still figuring that out.
Well, perhaps the fact that they can't tell you means that it doesn't exist. So
yeah.
I almost want to go and assume that. So that must feel really special to you. And
Totally.
if there is one that exists, it's one of the very few.
Definitely.
You mentioned research, and this leads me to the question of what was the part of the making of the film that you least enjoyed?
Well, I really enjoyed my research. That was I think research is important, especially when you're speaking about other people and you're depicting a narrative that is so common. And I just, like, the more I researched, the more I realized how important this story was. But I will say something that I didn't enjoy was probably paperwork, just like the things that I didn't find as fun, which was like insurance and those kinds of things. Even if there were obstacles and there were days that went on longer, I don't know, there's a part of you that feels like, wow, this is such an important story that it just doesn't matter. Like, you will do, I don't think I've ever really felt this way towards something where it was just like, whatever it is, we will jump over it, we'll go under it, we will slide through it. It's going to be made. I think maybe fundraising, like, I don't love asking people for money, but we needed money. So I didn't love that. But I still had fun, like, marketing with fundraising, like figuring out creative ways to get the message out there. But yeah, I think paperwork and asking people for money is my worst.
I feel like that's every artist's nightmare. Paperwork.
For sure.
Because all you want to do
like,
is
we did not study that. That was not what we came into this for.
Oh no. Man, there needs to be like a special module on that stuff. Crazy.
Yeah,
but well
seriously.
done for getting through it.
Thank you.
And once again, we have an amazing film awaiting us. What is your most precious scene in the film? Can you describe that scene to us?
Okay, I have two. One from like a filmmaker's perspective that I just like, I love the way I did it. But also the first one is that there's a scene where the little girl and Sibongile, she asks her mom, she says, "Mom, can I have some potatoes?" And her mom says, "No, you have to wait until dinner." And Sibongile secretly gives her a roast potato. And to me, that came out of real life. And Susan always used to sneak me roast potatoes because they're my favorite food. So I put that in the film, and then watching her watch that scene, she just got the biggest smile on her face, and she said, "Yes, exactly." So to me, that's a very precious moment that comes straight out of real life. And then from a filmmaking point of view, I may be ruining it, but I think I don't want to ruin it in case, but from a filmmaker's point of view, at the end, I think the way that I chose to reveal the ending is something that I really like. So you'll have to watch it and you'll figure out what I'm speaking about.
Oh my gosh, this gets me more excited. I'm sure it's getting everyone else excited here. Okay, this is great clickbait for your film. Is there anything you wish you could have changed about the film, and why? And how do you feel about it now?
Yeah. So I think I went into this film with the mindset of, this is my first film, like a big film with an actual budget. I'm gonna learn. Any mistakes that I make are mistakes that I'm not gonna make again. So I don't think there's anything that I would change. I think from a visual point of view, there's a scene that every time I watch it, I'm just like, oh, I should have done that differently. But you learn from it. So I still wouldn't change it, because I think I needed that. And nobody else says anything to me about it. So I'm not going to point it out either, but it's there. But yeah, and I think looking back at the film, of all of the awards that we got, we are so grateful for it. Not just me, but the whole cast and crew who volunteered their time and their talents. But I think the biggest reward was the end product, and watching Susan and seeing how she felt about the film. And that's all that really mattered to us. So in the end, it didn't matter what happened after that.
I want to ask you on the point of awards, and I know that everyone's burning to know what this is like, but describe exactly how you felt when you received the Student Academy Award for Umama from Spike Lee, of all people.
Okay, well, first of all, I get told that Spike Lee is coming onto the call, and I really got starstruck. Like, I don't know how to explain it, and I still think back and I'm like, what could I have said? You know, when people are like, if you're gonna meet this person, what would you say? Like, I still don't know. There's just no words. I was just so starstruck. I don't think, like, see, even now I'm finding it hard to describe, but it was just like, it was my greatest dream come true. That's the only way to describe it. And I kept saying to people, I feel like this is a dream and I'm going to wake up. And that's going to be so devastating. But what a good dream it was. Like, wow. It was incredible. I think I was shaking for 2 days straight afterwards. It was probably the best way to describe my physical reaction. It really is.
Do you feel like you finally left? Do you feel like you finally left?
I do. I'm not joking. It feels like, you know, I think growing up in South Africa, when you're an artist, it's not, you look out at the world and you think, oh, like, I have to go there to do something, or like, I have to be in this place to really be where I want to be. And I think having made this film and come back to South Africa and told this story from South Africa about South Africans with South Africans, and then hearing that I got a Student Academy Award, which is like a baby Oscar, which is my dream since I was 8 years old. It's such an incredible feeling. I just can't put it to words. Seriously, it's like your greatest dream come true. I could cry right now thinking about it.
Oh, man. Someone like you, going out there and just by reading your energy, understanding how hard you had to work for this and the tenacity that you had to put into this. And I mean, getting your mom to friggin' call up people from Instagram, that's insane. But what are the odds?
Yeah.
Like I said, you asked and it came. So
Totally.
that is basically the motto to this story, right? Would you agree?
Exactly. I think you ask and it comes, but also work hard. That's
of course
part of it. But keep a positive,
in a nutshell,
a positive mindset.
You were talking about bringing it back to South Africa, and obviously you've been someone that has observed the South African film industry, being a South African and being in film. And I wanted to ask, what are your hopes for the future of South African film?
Yeah. So what I've seen now from being in America and being in, I mean, kind of experiencing South African film, but what I'm seeing from America is that there is more want and desire and demand for other stories, which is a great opportunity for South Africa and South African filmmakers. So I really do hope that there are more opportunities for South African talent. I think we are an incredible country with incredible stories, and I want those stories to be told, and I want people to tell their stories. So I just hope that my hopes are that the industry will start expanding a bit more into the global side of things. And I think, can't remember what I was going to say, but I'm trying to think
Still
because
starstruck.
yeah, I'm still starstruck. It's a hard one. I want personally for myself to continue telling South African stories and using whatever I do to help anybody else in my life or in my field, in my craft. But I think what I really want for South Africans is I've been to America and I can see like kids growing up there in LA. You say that you want to be in film, and it's not the craziest thing you've ever heard, but you do that in South Africa and it's like, oh, well, good luck to you. And I don't want that for anybody. I don't want anybody to have worked as hard as I did to get what they want. It shouldn't be like that. There should be more opportunities. And it should be a reality for South Africans, and a good one. And that's what I really hope for.
That's really wonderful to hear. I think that's everyone's hope.
Yeah.
And but the difference is that you are setting the bar. You're setting the bar here. And that sounds big, I know, but you have set the bar. Let's just be real. And I think this is going to signal a whole lot of South African film victories, especially for South African women.
For sure.
We were talking on a That's a Fact conversation about how it is so uncommon to have a woman in this kind of role. And here you are representing not only South Africans, but women as well, which are considered the minority of America, which is insane. So, man, kudos to you.
Thank you.
This is a technical question here, but what is the difference between creating a fictional film and a biographical? Am I right in calling it a biographical film?
Yeah.
Umama?
Yeah, definitely.
So what is the difference between creating a fictional film and a biographical film such as Umama, according to your experiences?
Yeah, in my experience, I think I am somebody who's inspired by real people and like just ordinary people with incredible stories. You know, you don't have to be, look, I am obsessed with Nelson Mandela. Like, he is my hero. But you don't have to be Nelson Mandela to have a movie made about you. And I think that's what people need to see, that's what I want to do. I want to write about these stories of ordinary people with extraordinary stories. And so in terms of writing those kinds of stories, it's a lot of research. You don't want to mess up somebody's life story. And I think when it comes to fictional films, I've never written a fictional film, so I don't know. What we learned in school was write what you know, and I think that's what inspired me to write a lot about South Africa.
That says everything, because I think anyone can tell that with fictional film you still have to deal with someone else's story, but it's not a real life story. It's something that's been made up. And with my limited knowledge of film, there are many ways of representing a fictional film, but with a real life story or biographical story, you have to work with the real life graphic and the real life narrative,
Totally.
and to be able to summarize that is a huge challenge. It's like writing an essay about a
For
massive
sure.
topic. I'm guessing the sum of your product is summarizing it amazingly. So I mean, you will
Yeah.
only know, and that's the real gem about it.
Yeah, I mean, what's hard is that like there are some incredible like anecdotes that you'll hear, and picking and choosing those things are so hard. And you know, you learn, and I'm sure it's the same with music or with any kind of art form where there is a base structure that you have to follow,
Yeah.
or like there are certain things that you have to hit for it to be a good product. So I think that gets hard with real stories, because you kind of, there are moments when it's like, okay, how do I put this into the story, or how do I make sure that we're hitting something, doing it in the right way that will make it a good film, because it's a good story, but is it a good film? So yeah, it's tough. But also I think like fictional stories are really tough, just because I mean, I don't have that big of an imagination to just come up with something out of the blue, like sci-fi things. Wow, props to them, seriously.
It's incredible what sci-fi people do, but I think the values that you have instilled in your filmmaking process already will allow you to reach those heights if you want to. So and it shows. So that's incredible to be in your midst and to be able to say something like that, and to be able to read that from you. When you look back at your film, simply, how do you feel?
I really am proud, and I'm you know, like not because of any of the awards, not because of any of that, just because I know how much it took to get the film made. Like my brother was saying, I mean, when I told them that I won the Student Academy Awards, my brother was like, whoa, just getting the film done was an achievement. And I said to him, I mean, just raising the money was an achievement. So I think for me, I'm so proud that I have a film. I finished a film. And that it's doing well is really great bonuses, like incredible, beautiful bonuses.
People often think too much about the end game, but they don't think about the journey. And to me, I can see how enriching it was for you just to be in that journey itself. And that's what determines, you know, the outcome, essentially. Really?
Totally, I think so. Like every obstacle that we face, every challenge that there was, I always look back and I just think I would not change anything. The days that I cried, the days that I was excited, like I would change absolutely nothing, because I learned so much, and that's what was the most important to me.
I think we are ready for our last question, and that is just, why does Umama exist?
Umama exists because it's an important story to be told. I think people across South Africa can relate to this narrative, and I think for me, something that was missing was stories that we could relate to and see ourselves in. And so it exists exactly for that, for South Africans, but also for the rest of the world, to see South Africans, to see their stories and their talent.
That's such a great answer, really. And
thank you.
It is doing the things. It really is doing the things. And there is a purpose beyond Umama, I can predict, that is going to serve not only South Africans, but the rest of the world very well. So,
I hope so.
at
that would
this
be incredible.
Point, yeah. And I think that if there's anything that I can say as a last word to the questions or the question session is that I can just see more awards happening in your future.
Thank you. I hope so.
Believe it, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quickly, as per tradition, on That's a Fact, we end off with an affirmation. And I'm welcoming you to state your affirmation to our femme arts lovers about this entire conversation and about your journey in the making of Umama.
Whatever it is that you want to achieve, if you believe it and put in the hard work, you can do it. And that's a fact.
Further ado, thank you so much for just gracing us with your presence, your inspiration, and your incredible work on Umama that we will yet to be witnessing. And congratulations to you and your cast and the rest of your team for this amazing Student Academy Award / Oscar achievement.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me and everything that you're doing for women in the arts. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited to be part of your circle now.
Don't you know?